The demon house of Gary, Indiana is one of pure terror that was plagued by a vicious poltergeist. Were the children of the home possessed by a demon, or was it all a lie? And with that, I'm Cassie.
I'm Sara, and now let's talk about the poltergeist at the demon house. In November of 2011, Latoya Ammons, a mother of 3, moved to a white rental cottage at 3860 Carolina Street in Gary, Indiana. After moving in with her children and mother, the family allegedly began to encounter poltergeist activities. Immediately after their move, the enclosed front porch was overrun with enormous black flies in the dead of winter. Following the incident, it became a reoccurring event that after midnight, both Latoya and her mother would hear footsteps coming from the basement and the slow creaking of the door opening entirely to the exposed kitchen. Without fail, anytime either one of them would check the basement, no one was there. One night, Latoya's mother felt a strange presence that awoke her. As she peeked outside her door, she was startled. She says there was a black shadow pacing back and forth in the living room. She removed herself from her bed to find giant muddy boot prints. Not making a fuss over what had occurred, the family continued with their life at the demon house. It wasn't until March of 2012 that what seemed to be odd turned to dread. One night around 2 a.m., family and friends were gathered at the demon house to mourn the loss of someone close. According to Latoya, she went to check on her kids to find her 12-year-old daughter unconsciously levitating above the bed, and without hesitation, everyone gathered around the child and began praying until she fell back to the bed. It was then that she sought help.
So, if you walked into your 12-year-old daughter's room and you saw her levitating above the bed, what would your reaction be?
I'd walk in, I would just be like, WTF? Like, what are you doing?
You try to talk to her?
Yeah, I think I'd be like, are you playing or something? Or like, are you messing around?
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing that? And then, if she doesn't answer, then I'd be like, holy crap, something's happening to my daughter. And I think I would run over and try to pull her down. I feel like that would be something I'd do.
I feel like my jaw would just hit the floor.
Yeah.
I'd be like, and I would probably get full body chills because we talked about in our last video, I know what this stuff means, what's going down. So I would be like,
I'd be like,
what?
Get out of my house. No.
I'd be like, oh, this is not good. It's crazy that everyone who would was downstairs came upstairs
to start praying.
Which I get, but the fact that everyone was just we don't know their reaction necessarily, but they were just oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I feel
I'd be no, I'm not stepping foot in there. I'm if it's my kid that's floating, yes, I'll be in there. But if my kid's not in there, I'm deucing out of there.
If I was at someone's house, mourning the loss of someone in the family or whatever, I don't know if these were family friends or they were family that were in her house, but and she was you guys need to come upstairs.
My daughter's levitating.
Something's going on here. I think I'd be
excuse me?
What? I would probably think she's playing a joke on me.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably be terrified, to be honest.
Okay, well, when you put it that way, she might be playing a joke on me, then I'd be really curious. I'd
That's
be
true.
Okay, now I gotta go upstairs and check. And then if it's true, I'd be running back down those stairs, out of that house, and probably calling the police.
I think it would be terrifying.
Local churches refused to visit the home and suggested Latoya clean the demon house by pouring ammonia and bleach throughout. Not only that, but to draw crosses on every door and bathe her children in olive oil. It was also proposed the family create a makeshift altar in the possessed basement.
I've grown up in church, so I'm kind of familiar. I don't know everything, how to cleanse a house, but I've never heard of pouring ammonia and bleach.
Neither have I. I've heard of holy water and saging.
Yeah, I don't know what when I think about it, what would bleach do? Holy water is water that's prayed over and purified essentially. But I mean I don't know if they were trying to substitute that with bleach because it's pure and supposed to clean things. But I just find it interesting that church is telling her to pour bleach in your house.
And ammonia.
I understand the crosses on the door. That makes sense. I don't know about the bathing your child in olive oil.
I would think you would use bathe your kids in holy water.
Yeah. But again, I don't know everything obviously.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of that.
In olive oil?
And no. I also would not make an altar in the basement. That seems more demonic to me.
Yeah.
Because then you're making, I mean, it doesn't say what they made an altar to.
Isn't that kind of more like a gateway for more to kind of?
It sounds like it would be more of like, because like you make an altar to worship at. So what are you worshiping? The demon that's in your house? You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like maybe if we prayed to God and Jesus.
Yes.
Down in the basement, then.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm just trying to like think about like why would you make an altar? Like, again, like maybe if it was like an altar to God, maybe, but still, why would you make an altar? I don't know.
I don't know either.
You know, I don't know. I just wonder like.
I would think just go, like, if you really wanted to, just go down there and pray. Like, I don't think you really need the altar. No. Just, get your rosary beads or,
I mean, you don't even need that.
I don't know. People have usually rosary beads. I see people and, they got them in their hands and they're praying.
You don't need that, though.
Okay.
It's what a lot of people use, but you don't need it. But yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is just strange to me. The things that they chose to tell her to use. Like, I don't know.
Maybe they were just, like, messing with her.
That's what I was thinking. Like, again, I don't know everything, so this could be, like, a legit thing. It could be, like, older practices or whatever. But my other thought is maybe they just thought she was crazy. And they were just, like, giving her, like...
And trying to get her, like, just out.
Yeah, and maybe, like, not giving her necessarily... Again, I don't know everything. Just giving her, like, I don't want to say fake things, but, like, that way she didn't bring anything into the house. You know what I mean? Like not giving her necessarily like real purifying
agents or
you know what I mean, to like bring something else in on accident. I don't know. Again, I mean, it could be like a legit thing to pour bleach to your house, but I personally have never heard of it.
Regrettably, it wasn't doing much, so she seeked out 2 clairvoyants who claimed the house was possessed by more than 200 demonic spirits. The family didn't have enough money to break the lease on the demon house and had no other choice but to stay. Latoya began to exorcise the home. She did everything from only wearing white to burning sage and reading Psalm 91 out loud. Surely he will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. Instead of things coming to a calm end, it only worsened. She also claims to have found her children speaking in tongues with bloodshot eyes and sporting sinister smirks. Her daughter said she felt like she was always being choked. Her youngest son would lock himself up in his closet and talk to a boy no one had ever seen. Around April, Latoya gave up and sought help from a physician. During their visit, her 2 sons yelled and cursed the entire staff. A report filed by the Department of Child Services and police stated that one of the boys had been magically thrown against a wall. After that incident, the boys proceeded to pass out and were hospitalized after. The youngest boy kept growling and telling his brother he was going to kill him and began to hit his brother's stomach by headbutting it. Following the gruesome act, he allegedly walked backward up onto a wall, made it onto the ceiling, and flipped over to land on his feet. During this time, the children were examined for any signs of abuse, and Latoya went through a psychological evaluation. To everyone's surprise, nothing was found. Either way, what had occurred in front of the hospital staff and police convinced the DCS to take custody of the children.
What do you think that the DCS and the police were thinking when they had to, probably when they first heard about this and then they had to come experience it?
So when they first heard about it, I don't think they really believed it.
No.
Like, just like the church probably didn't really believe her. So they're just like, okay, it's a job, so let's just go, do it, get it over with.
And the mom might be crazy since, at least since the DCS are being called in.
Yeah, and then they witnessed it, and they're like, feel like they did. Their first thought was these kids are being abused.
I wonder how much they got to see. You know what I mean? So it talks about how the one boy was headbutting his brother and walking on the wall and all this stuff. I wonder how much the DCS
saw.
Yeah, how much did they get to experience? You know, when they went in there, were things normal,
more calm,
and then they thought the mom was crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or did they get to see the boys act out and
Well, I feel like in order to get this information, somebody had to see. Well, I mean, do you think maybe it's Latoya telling them, my kid's walking on the wall?
Well, so we talk about how a report was filed after the boys were yelling at the staff at the doctor's office, which makes sense, but they probably thought that the boys were acting out maybe because mom was abusing them at home or whatever. And then Latoya probably talked to them and was like, look, I don't know what's going on with them. Maybe she knew that they were possessed or whatever, but, you know, and then maybe they're like, oh, she's crazy. She thinks her children are possessed.
Do a psych test on her.
And it came back that nothing was wrong.
Apparently, staff at the hospital reached out to Reverend Michael to perform an exorcism on one of the children. The Reverend visited the demon house where he insists he too experienced paranormal activity, from everything to the muddy footprints and flickering lights that wouldn't stop every time he investigated something supernatural. He knew he had to exorcise Latoya. He placed a crucifix against her head and she couldn't stop convulsing. With 4 hours into his investigation, he established the house was possessed and demanded they seek shelter elsewhere, but they couldn't. I know you're not very fond of this Reverend. You have some choice words, but do you think this Reverend's like shady?
I find it interesting that like he goes in there and all of a sudden he's like, yep, she's possessed. Like, I don't know if he's seen something or what, but like so far what we've read, like she, again, we don't know everything. There could have been more going on behind the scenes, but like we haven't seen her or like heard about her being the one that was showing possession. Like it was the kids. So them calling him in to perform on the kids, that makes sense. But why is he all of a sudden like, she needs to be exorcised? No, I mean, like, again, we could be missing a lot of information. Yeah. But I just find it interesting. And then like with him placing the crucifix on her head and her convulsing, I mean, yeah, that would be a sign of possession, but again, we haven't heard anything about her being possessed.
No, she's like been completely normal. She's the one that's been like noticing it.
Yeah, like, and trying to bring it, get help and bring attention to it. So I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I don't know. I think it's shady. He walks into the house and he's like, yup. He's like, I experienced this. Like, it's definitely, and then it's you.
Oh, yeah.
It's you that needs to be exorcised. 4 hours, though. 4 hours.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about him that
gives you the ick.
A little bit, yeah. I don't know. Let's read more about him and then talk about it.
Let's do this. The DCS was far from done with their investigation, and they requested an officer to review the living conditions of the demon house. The police officer stated that he had seen and heard some unexplainable things. His flashlight flickered uncontrollably in the basement until it eventually turned off by itself. It alarmed him because he had just replaced the batteries that morning. He took pictures of the basement where he said he could see a cloud resembling someone's face, and even recorded audio where you can supposedly hear someone whispering, "Hey." He claimed that he brought something back with him as his driver's seat kept moving back and forth on his way home. The movement was so intense that his seat motor broke. A believer in the supernatural, the DCS still wasn't convinced. Without hesitation, Reverend Michael continued to investigate the demon house, particularly the basement, with the police and Samantha Illick, the DCS family case manager. During his many visits, Reverend Michael was convinced there might be a body buried under the stairs of the basement, which would explain the poltergeist activity. Police dug a 4x3 hole, and it's here where they uncovered a pair of panties, socks, a cooking pan, and a drapery cord. Illick claimed to have felt her pinky going numb after touching a sticky substance she found in the house. That same liquid was allegedly found dripping from the Venetian blinds in one of the bedrooms. However, no one could see where it was building. They cleaned it off the blinds to find the liquid dripping again. So now we're getting to a point where people are starting to believe that there's something in the house. Like, this police officer, like, went to the house and experienced things, and he thinks he brought something back with him.
Creepy.
It's like creepy, but like at least
like good. Like
good. Someone believes them now. Somebody's like on like Latoya and her family's
not
side.
Not saying that they're psychos. Yeah. But I mean, a little bit earlier we did say that the clairvoyants said that they were like 200. I mean, 200's a lot, but it's possible that there's like multiple demons, entities, whatever, in the house, you know. So now this officer is probably terrified because something has followed him back to his house or whatever.
In his car.
Yeah. But again, it is good that people are starting to believe now.
Yeah.
And it says that the DCS case manager believes in the supernatural, but didn't think
anything was happening.
Yeah. But I think her mind is starting to change. I don't know if the police officer and the case manager were with the reverend when he found the underwear, socks, frying pan, and cord. So I feel like that probably, like, if they were with him, that probably, like, changed their mind. They're like, oh, but something's going on here.
Hold the phone.
Yeah. How did he know it was there?
How did he know it was there, and why? It's such random stuff, I think. Like, okay, a pair of panties, okay, but a cooking pan, like, and a drapery cord?
My immediate thought is obviously somebody was
murdered. You think somebody was murdered? You find socks, panties?
I think possibly, like, maybe, like, raped and then murdered, or vice versa. And then, like, the cooking pan probably was part to, like, hit them, and the cord was used to choke them or, like, kill them or whatever. You can get, you know, like, things from God, but I don't know.
I don't know, man.
You know what I mean? Like,
this is what adds to him being shady.
Yeah, like, how did he, I don't know. I just think it's weird. Like, how did he know that there was something under the stairs in the basement? And it wasn't just, like, setting on top of the dirt. Like, they had to dig.
Yeah,
like,
they had to dig for it.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But I feel like that definitely makes him a hair shadier. And then, leading into the sticky substance.
Ectoplasm?
I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
My only other thought would be, like, venom from something.
Yeah.
But on the blinds? You know what I mean? Like, so the DCS officer, why do I keep saying officer? DCS case manager, like, touched something and her pinky went numb. So, like, that leads me to believe, like, poison or
something.
I don't know. Like, I literally cannot explain that.
When I think of you find a sticky substance, my mind immediately goes to Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Especially one that, like, is coming out of nowhere and apparently is poisonous. The fact that they wiped it off and then it came back. Like, what? How do you even explain that?
You don't. You just leave it alone. You just put it in a box and close it up forever.
I want to know.
Reverend Michael insisted the demon house needed to be exorcised. The 2-hour ritual, which consisted of prayers and performing an exorcism on Latoya yet again, was accompanied by 2 police officers and Illick. According to Illick, within 30 days after the exorcism, she went through a series of painful events that consisted of her breaking 3 ribs and obtaining 3-degree burns. Reverend Michael continued to purify Latoya even though she had moved to Indianapolis with her mother but returned to Gary for the court hearings. During months and months of cleansing her soul, Reverend Michael says she was clear of any demonic presence, and eventually the DCS returned custody to Latoya. Many speculate that these unforeseen tragic events were purely made up by Latoya, especially her landlord Charles Reed, to avoid any payment when living at 3860 Carolina Street in Gary. Anyone who's lived there before and after the Ammons has yet to experience supernatural activity.
After Latoya and the family moves out, she goes to
Indianapolis
to
live with the mama.
And Reverend Michael continues to, like, cleanse her soul.
So was the first exorcism not successful? Or do you have to, like, just keep cleansing until, like, a 30-day period?
I don't think that's... I've never done an exorcism.
But I
don't think that's how it works. You know, like, once you rid the body of the demon, like, you should be good to go, I'm assuming. Like, so I don't know why he's continuing, like, every time he sees her, and does he go there? I think he goes there. Maybe, like, purifies her.
Oh, I thought she came because she came back because she had court hearings.
Yeah, court hearings. Yeah, so she's back. But, like, so this went on for months, it says. I really don't know why. Again, never performed an exorcism, so...
Never will.
Probably not. Anyways, maybe he's a very nice guy and he knows what he's doing, but...
On paper, no.
It feels a little weird. So in the end, after we read our entire script...
Yes.
Do you think that the boys were possessed? Like, what was going down in that house? Do you think it was legit, or do you think Latoya was just making it up to try to get out of her lease?
Like I say in every video, like, it's hard to say because I haven't experienced it. Like, I haven't seen it with my own two eyes. Like, and just thinking about, like, at the hospital, like, the scene that I'm just gonna call it a scene right now. It makes me wonder, like, if they have, like, what's it called? Like, if it's, like, I don't want to say a temper tantrum that the boys are throwing.
Yeah.
Like, did they have previous, like, have they done this previously before or not?
Yeah.
If not, and this is a whole new thing, then I guess there's definitely something happening. I'm not sure. Like, it's hard. Like, I want to say yes, they're possessed. Because it's definitely freaky, like, what's happening. But I don't know, like, if it's, like, a reoccurring thing that, like, they have, like, the boys do have something wrong. And, like, I'm pretty
sure the walking on the wall happened on the hospital. So if other people saw it, I would say that they're possessed.
Yeah, if there were people to back that up, then I would think, they're definitely...
Because, again, like, I could say, headbutting. Like, yesterday, Sarah climbed on the wall. You know what I mean? Like, I could say that, but if nobody's saying it...
Yeah. But, like, also it says this one brother was headbutting his other brother in the stomach. I'd be like, well, they're brothers. They're probably just roughhousing. Yeah. And then the speaking in tongues, I could be like, well, they're probably just making a bunch of noises.
Yeah.
Like...
I mean... Again, if we were there, I feel like it might be easier to tell in a way because, like, if they were, like, actually speaking in tongues and they were possessed, like, it would be very creepy. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't just be like like, you would know. You'd be like, oh, something is not right here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Again, it would be easier if we were there and had been able to see this, but from what we have, I'm just gonna assume people saw this stuff, and I would say that they were possessed.
Yeah.
Let us know down below if you guys think that they were possessed or not. If you think Latoya was making it up just to get out of her lease or whatever. And let us know about the ectoplasm, the sticky substance in the house. Like, I really need to know.
I don't know.
If anybody's really into this stuff, please tell me what that could be.
Because right now I'm going with my Ghostbusters theory on that one.
And I'm going... Venom.
If you guys want to see another video about demonic possession, you should go check out our other video about the Conjuring house. It's going to be right there.
We will see you guys next week. Peace!